Welcome everyone to another edition of Kiwi Talks. I'm honored to be speaking to a man who has worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Yu-Gi-Oh, as well as various other films. He's quite well known for doing a lot of stuff with David Attenborough's documentaries. Elik Alvarez, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here. This is fantastic. Glad that we actually able to do this.
Yeah, it's the digital age, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, the thing I wanted to ask you about first was your time working on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because you worked on that series for quite a long time. Did you? Did you not?
Yeah, at that time, For Kids Entertainment was the one doing those series along many things. They were having like seven series at the time, including Yu-Gi-Oh. And it's funny because the Yu-Gi-Oh series was like they didn't pay that much attention. They were doing like new shows, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the one that they put a lot of attention. So I started working as an additional writer from a composer, Ralph Shockett, that sadly passed away. Actually, Ralph was a big mentor to me and to many of the composers over there. So we started helping out a little bit because he was really busy with a lot of work. And it happened that they started doing that, and they invited us, hey, you want to write for this one as well? At that point, I was doing a Kirby. That's the show that we really were involved, and then they kind of like the work that I was doing, and then they say, you want to also do some cues over here. But the thing with For Kids Entertainment, that's the way the company was called at that time, doesn't exist anymore. They were doing like 6, 7 at the same time, so I got the chance to explore different series just as the team of composers that they have over there. So that's how that happens. It wasn't because of that particular show, but it's because we're doing Kirby, working with Ralph. And, little by little, start moving up a little bit. And they start, at that point, Ralph stopped writing music for them. They moved up to some other projects. And we kind of inherit some of those. And that's how the Yu-Gi-Oh story started.
Because I've heard that working on TV shows, or specifically anime or cartoons, is very, very fierce in terms of the timelines. Right? You've got to compose, and you have certain deadlines, and they're so tight that you're just constantly composing 24/7.
I was lucky that those were my first professional gigs. And I'm going to tell you why. That was a boot camp for me. The training that you got over there. I finished school at Berklee College of Music. I did a film scoring major, and then I moved to LA, as many composers do. And trying to find my way around. Working for different people, trying to get some connections. So when Ralph called us, to actually, and when I say call us, because we, working a team of composers, working on animation was the best boot camp you can have because it's so demanding, melody writing, big orchestration, deadlines. They were based on New York. And I remember delivering 6 a.m. over here because, deadline over there was 9 a.m. And, I still was young. I still was learning. I still freak out. Oh my gosh, how can I actually deal with this crazy battle cue? The last 3.5 minutes is going to drain all the energy that I have. Today, if you put some of that in front of me, I know what to do. It's just been like almost 20 years doing it. As every other thing that you do many, many times, you feel comfortable and secure about what you're doing. But at that time was scary. The good news, I guess I was brave enough to go ahead and go and do it. And was an amazing training. I think that after writing for that, and again, being forced to write melodically, because they always like melody. It's not about doing chords and pads or things like that. There ain't nothing to do with that. Big orchestrations. And then they went beyond, like they didn't want, traditional orchestration. Now we want you guys to do hybrid. And then, we want synths, we want, electric guitars, all the stuff that you hear. I'm not saying anything new, but I was forced to do it, at, let's say, a very young age. And that training allowed me to, honestly, to not being afraid of anything, any films that I do. And, and I'm talking about, the 2003, 2004, when they were presenting different things that were in animation. For me, well, oh, this is a piece of cake. Of course, you don't say it like that because you encounter all the troubles in the world. But you say, if I was able to at least manage to do that, then I can hopefully manage to do this one over here. That's what I call it a boot camp, or maybe, for kids school of music. I don't know. It just was an amazing training. I had to do it for like, very, very intense until I start moving to different projects, like for 3 years in a row. So, you either do it or, or they won't call you back. And one of the things, like, and I'm going to repeat this, we were a team of composers. It's not that we weren't competing to each other, but if they see, oh, these guys, like you actually get reward because they give more work to you. You know what I mean? There was always like that. And then you hear what the other composers were doing. Oh my gosh, I mean, I have to do that as well. I mean, how can I do it? So you survive in that environment, and that just makes you stronger. So I'm very grateful and that I feel lucky that's how it started, writing for animation.
So with a 20-minute episode, because obviously with a lot of these shows, there'd be multiple composers, right? So of a 20-minute episode, how much of it would you actually score predominantly, and how much would be handled by someone else?
All depends on which show, if I was the main composer or I was invited, to be part of the team. But, sometimes, yeah, we're talking about 20 minutes, that's usually wall-to-wall music. I mean, almost never you see a little bit of rest over there. So I was doing like 10 minutes of music, 9 minutes of music. Sometimes I was doing 2, 3, 4, all depending on how much music they assign. And they decide that over there. They have a music producer, say this go to this one, this go to this one. I mean, again, the volume of shows that we're doing, I mean, there were so many that they need to split the whole thing like that. You know what I mean? So, as I said, I mean, at what point and they were doing 6 or 7 at the same time, animations. Wall-to-wall music, they have to deliver, and with all the Yu-Gi-Oh, that was their big thing, with Yu-Gi-Oh. Those shows, they were already made in Japan, and we're getting here, they were dubbing the voices and some sound effects and the music. So I say, hey, hello guys, oh yeah, we have 56 episodes to do. Oh my gosh. Of course, the way they work, I mean, we really like score to picture 15, 16, 20, all depend. And then they were doing a lot of music editing. And then they just call you back, hey, we need a new theme. We need to listen, a new character just came, can you write a theme for this? But after that, they start editing a lot of music. And I'm talking specifically about Yu-Gi-Oh! They weren't we were scoring original music, from beginning to end, because that's almost impossible. And, many reasons, budget, time, things like that. And once you have so much volume for music, you definitely can handle with, with very good music editors that make it sound like, fantastic, like if it was actually scored to picture.
Because if someone else writes a theme, would you take a variation of that theme and apply it to another scene? So say if, let's take Shredder's theme, for example. I'm not sure if you wrote that or not, but, but what's that?
No, I did not.
No. But would you have had to adapt that in certain scenes when you were scoring? You see Shredder on the screen, for example, so you'd make a variation to work in within the orchestrated score that you were doing?
Absolutely. If I write a theme for anything that I'm doing, they were free to take it and just arrange it, vary it, because I will do the same. They will say, I mean, they weren't assigning cues based on which characters, were actually on the series. It just basically, this goes to you. So if I need to use, a particular theme, Michelangelo or whatever, this was such a long time ago that I'm trying to go back in my hard drive and remember, because, I mean, of course, I have so many stories. But, to answer your question, we were able to share our themes. If we write a theme and it gets approved, then they put it on the FTP and said, such and such theme, and then you download it. Okay, I'm going to use it for my theme. Of course, not like you're going to copy and paste. You do your own things based on that theme, and it could be a quote of the melody, like, it could be na-na-na-ni, 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 and then you do so many variations about that one. And I guess that one that I sang was for the fast forward. I don't know, because we did the first one and then fast forward came, and maybe another one, I don't remember. But again, yeah, we were able to share all the themes all the time.
Yeah, because I suppose if you're working on multiple different cartoons all at the same time as well, that I suppose the line would start to blur. You'd like, what was I working on? What's this theme for?
Yeah, and did I write this cue? Like mine, or who did it? I mean, yeah. I mean, it just start getting a lot of volume, and it becomes like almost, that you are just walking, it's just normal in your life and things like that. Still, if don't get me wrong, I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, that's the reason why I do this. I mean, it's just like I seen the satisfaction of finishing a queue, and then, oh my god, let me listen my stuff right now and being hopefully proud of what you did. I mean, that feeling in this type of environment, where we're not recording with live orchestra or anything like that, because they, weren't really any budget, to go with a live orchestra for this type of series. But that, as a composer, that's the gratification that you get. Okay, man, they really push me, and then you hear all this back. I mean, it's fantastic, So, yeah. But again, even if you do it every day, like, it's enjoyable, and you don't get bored. That's one thing I guarantee you with these cartoons. No time to get bored, man, because it's just every time they present you with something new, a new challenge. And, especially like, I'm not bragging here, like, they were sending me a lot of action cues, which require more work. And I don't know if because I wasn't one of the junior, let's see, tell you with the difficult stuff, and like give the other guys, like, the more simple thing. But man, every time that you see an action cue, you say, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. I remember sometimes starting on a Monday, and then when I finish on Friday, depending on how long the queue was, I was drained, like, because it never stops. I mean, with these guys and the way they want it, you need to modulate, you need to go, you need to make sure that the kids don't get bored with it. Okay, all right, so more and more and more. so yeah.
Like with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in particular, there were so many different elements, and because obviously you had orchestration, you had metal guitars, you had ethnic instruments, Japanese instruments like kotos, right? And then you even had hip hop elements in there. So there's so much, so much involved. So I mean, because you must have a favorite genre, and a genre that you're probably most good at, and then other genres you might not be as familiar with. So do you have to go and research before you adapt that for that specific episode?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yep. I mean, I wasn't big about electronics, and I'm definitely, not big about hip hop. And I think that more of what they were requesting is to make it modern and put it like a modern beat or urban beat. At that point, just to accompany everything, all depending on what was happening. The cartoon is based on New York, and they want to also to bring that a little bit. And I'm primarily, I was trained as a classical musician, and I love the orchestra, and I like to say that I know the orchestra very well. Although every day I learn something new, I'm gonna keep learning for the rest of my life, of course. And so, the challenge of bringing electronics and scenes and things that are not really what I was accustomed to do. I mean, that's why it makes you better, because you need to explore, and at that level, like, you have to do it by yourself. I mean, if you go somewhere else on a different type of project, what I may do is just bring the guy, say, let's collaborate on this. I mean, listen, I need to do my thing, but I mean, you are the best here on, with analog scenes. I mean, can we do something together? Or, can you come over here to the studio and present me some ideas? And I love that. I love the collaboration aspect, and because I think that wonderful things happens, when you actually get together in a room with somebody who truly is good at what they do and truly love, with somebody who, also, okay, that's not my really that I'm super, super good, but I can do this really well, and you put it together, and I think that's when magic happens. So, but yeah, in particular with the Turtles, I guess. Again, and it happened with that show and with many of them, they force you to try new things, and at that point, my setup wasn't not even half, like 10% of what I have right now. And especially, technology has been, moving forward so much that, yes, just to create a big sound with the orchestra before your computer dies, wasn't as easy as right now, because, I have, loaded every single instrument that I want. So, you're finding the right synth and the right sound. It was more time consuming, but at the end, the result, I guess it's the same. You just want to make it sound good and, be creative and sound original, and of course functional for the project.
So when you're composing, obviously, because of the strict deadlines, I imagine there's a lot of overnighters, and obviously if you're composing all the time, your ear starts to get tired. So did you were you mixing a lot, or were you handing that over to someone else to mix, or would you try and mix it while you'd been scoring for, I don't know, 10 hours straight?
Yeah, I think that everybody has a different process. I myself, if I'm writing the music, I'm already mixing. So as I finish my cue, it already sounds pretty good. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you why. The way that I approach all the thing is just if I'm looking at the orchestra and I'm conducting the orchestra. So the balance in the orchestra happens in real time. Even when you are on a live, after you rehearse 3 or 4 times, then when you're a live performance, you need to make sure everything. So that's the way that I myself do it. I mean, many people do it different. So I got used to. Let me try to answer this. I'm not an engineer. I'm not. And, at that point, I put a little compressor here and a little EQ. I mean, I never got into deep things that, this master do and what they know about all this, because that's not my field. But level wise, so the way that everything needs to be balanced for me, my ear always was guiding me, just do it right away. Instead of, I'm just going to write something and then and I'll take care of the mix later. It's something good enough right now. No, I tend to actually do it as I'm working, and of course, then I review. Then then when you finish the cue, go back, play back, listen. Oh, this is too high. I'm gonna change something and things like that. But usually my cues when I'm working in MIDI already are kind of already mixed. As I'm progressing. Unless there is no rule to this. I think that I'm being specific to this particular type of approach, working with cartoons and working specifically for these shows. That's what I was doing. And I got used to it. And then when I do anything else, then, if I'm writing a theme, I'll go to the piano and try to write it and, go a little bit more traditional. And as soon as I hear something that I like, just playing in the piano, then I go to my setup. And then I start orchestrating right away. So I go, okay, this is the theme, and then my orchestration start going, from beginning to end. But does the ear get tired? Yeah, it does. I mean, do I enjoy? I'm not the same kid staying late at night. No, I don't. I have kids. I have a wife, so I go home and I say, you know what? I can finish tomorrow. You know what I mean? Before it's like, I gotta finish 4 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. So I'm not enjoying that anymore. I prefer to go and play tennis, go back home, have a couple of beers, play with my kids, go to bed, and next time I'll retake it, because your ear gets tired,
Yeah. And you probably don't have the same energy as you do when you're younger, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to. I think that, but priorities change it, after you get married and kids like that, those priorities change. Still, I mean, I think the only time that I start missing deadlines was when my first kid was born and I had my studio at home. And then, I was working and then they are going to press a button, something like that. Oh my gosh. And then I wanted to play with him and they say, I'm late. I won't be able to finish this cue. So that's when, that was in 2009. And I decided, I need to take my studio out of here because it's not going to happen. And so, but yeah. No, I think the priorities start changing. Still you deliver, have to be professional. If somebody tells you, and I'm pretty crazy about that, it's tomorrow 9 a.m., it's going to be tomorrow 9 a.m. no matter what, there are exceptions, but I try to keep it like that. It made me feel good if I finish when I said that I'm going to be finished.
Yeah, fair enough. So, when you were working on, say, F-Zero, Kirby, Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because with Kirby and F-Zero, they're based on video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you take any influence from the games? Did you listen to any of the music from the games?
No.
You did? No? And the same with Yu-Gi-Oh? Were you inspired at all by the Japanese score? Or you just...
Yeah, and I think that's what's great about those guys. We never heard any Temp track. We never heard any influence for anyone. I love it because they actually open the canvas to us and say, you do it. You come out with a sound. If you want to put guitars, in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, do it. But we never they actually tell, please don't listen to the Japanese soundtrack of Yu-Gi-Oh. Don't do it. And sometimes we're curiosity, but it just has nothing to do with what we're doing. Nothing to do. So that's a very good question, and a question that I enjoy because about 10 track, sometimes they present you with some idea that somebody else did, and then you try to make it better and try to explain, listen. So we never had that problem. They either like it or not. It wasn't about, hey, do something like this. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I would imagine sometimes it would be harder to try and compose something in the way that another composer did it, if you had
Yeah.
to try and take elements of that and then incorporate it into your style.
Yeah, I mean, and you have interviewed composers like, the 10-track conversation. That's a long one, and everybody have different opinions. It could be helpful, but also could be very damaged, to the creativity, and all depend who you're working with, what kind of director you're working with. Listen, this is great because I mean, editors start editing and depending on the project, maybe you have a music editor who does an amazing 10-track job for the movie, but it's based on something else, and it may work, and you say, oh my gosh, this is great. So your job as a composer, well, I'm going to make it better. Sometimes say, how can I make something better? I mean, this is already pretty good, but that's where probably they're hiring you to see if you can come up with something. And I don't think that's the problem. The problem is the attachment, that they heard that score so many times that you come out with something different and you're going to say, hey, what happened here? Which movie is this? So yeah, I mean, and again, like, I feel like without disrespecting anyone, like, I mean, if you like that particular style and it's not my style, hire somebody else. Yes, I would love to have the job, but forcing someone to do exactly like this guy does it. So, well, how about if we try it this way? Say, no, I want exactly like, well, see who composed that music and maybe he can do it exactly like the way you want it, So,
Yeah, fair enough. Now, a lot of people don't know that you have a degree in business administration, right?
Oh my gosh, and how do you know that? Did I put it somewhere?
So were you, even though that you have that degree, are you able to apply it in any shape or form to how you do music? Is there anything from that you've been able to incorporate into this new career? Well, it's not really a new career anymore, but...
Very good question. When I was in the university back in my hometown in Venezuela, taking those classes, I was thinking about music. So the answer, I love business. I'm a business-oriented person. And I think that I learned quite a lot applying it to music. Not very much. I think that it helps to actually the way I think, the way I handle my business, the way I try to approach things, because yes, even if I was thinking, listen to the teacher or whatever, and they all thinking about music at that time, then, I learned something. But no, I will say like, I would say like if I wasn't a composer, I would be a chef. I love cooking. And for me, chef is kind of very similar to composing. So those two will relate much more. Like, oh yeah, because I put a little sauce here and pepper and things like that. And then I try it and I don't like it. So yeah, that will be like more closer, to apply to music. But the degree in business, again, just my regular life. Hopefully I learned something that helped me handle my business and understand that I need to make money to eat,
Well, I suppose in terms of negotiating, I guess, because you do freelance work mostly, don't you? So
yeah. Mostly I do freelance. Yes, I mean, and I used to have an agent, and I mean, love her to death. But it came upon that I was actually, and all depends on the project, to actually taking care of my own. I have an entertainment lawyer who can check. I know a lawyer that can check the contract to make sure everything is fine. But most of the project, like I think that I can handle myself pretty well. Of course, there are points like yes, you need your agent to come and listen. I'm going to negotiate for you because it's a different deal, a different animal. So yes, I mean they will be able to actually get a better deal that you will probably will get. I think that stuff when you start your first work start coming on, hopefully, friends who are filmmakers. So you that's tough to say, listen, this is the money, but Elik, I just don't have the money, but I want to work with you. And, we're having a beer or not. But yeah, well, I'm going to send you my agent. And they get scared. Don't send me your agent. This is crazy. I want to talk to you about it. So I don't know. Sometimes that, everything is a balance, in my opinion. You can balance things out. I mean, it will come a point where you can get your agent and damn, and I'm gonna get that much money. So in order you enjoy working with your friends, and you can accommodate and make different type of deals. And just the fact that I believe that I know how to okay, listen, there is not much budget. Okay, I'm gonna keep the rights of the music. Then, if you don't have enough budget, let me keep the right of the music. So then, the music is mine, and then I can see what I can do with that music in the future. So, things like that. That's just an example. There are many ways to actually balance things out. When things like that happen.
Mm. Now, did you talk to when you were at 4Kids Entertainment? Did you talk to anyone about releasing soundtracks for any of the stuff you did?
Even they have tried, but it never happened. I don't know. Like, remember 4Kids Entertainment? They went bankruptcy in 2009 to something like that, and then Konami acquired. I don't know the dates very well, but yeah, there was a lot of conversation. I have no power whatsoever of doing anything because it's not my music. But we have been in communications even recently trying to do it. It's just never because how many emails I get and the other composers get. Excuse me, can you release this from Yu-Gi-Oh? Can you release this from Yu-Gi-Oh? Friend, are you gonna do it? And since we don't have power of doing it, I seen it start. We go to the right person and they start escalating, and suddenly, boom, somebody say, yeah, we'll do it later, and never happens.
Yeah, well, I suppose with say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because there was so many people working on it, you'd have to work out how the royalty system works. And who owns 4Kids now? It's Nickelodeon, isn't it?
Konami acquired, and it's called
Konami.
4K Media. Now it's called 4K Media,
right?
And they acquire the the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, and that's pretty much it. So they.
Okay, so there has been talks; they just haven't eventuated.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Again, my involvement is so minimal. Like, hey, would you like it? Yeah, of course, I will love it. Let me know how can I help. I mean, you want any ideas, but it just stays there. And then I don't know what happened, when it goes escalate somewhere else, But yeah, and I think there's been conversation because a lot of people ask for those. A lot of people. I mean, since and can you send me away? And like they're, and understandably so, they're strict. It's their music, it's their property. They don't want everybody sharing the music and things like that. I mean, hopefully one day somebody's going to say yes. There is just a ton of music and ton of great music. There's a lot of that is pretty cool. I mean, a lot of that have been written for that sometimes, and I'm not talking only about my music, like, for the team of composers, like, you start here, oh my God, this is great. Like, 10 years ago, wow, listen to that melody. I mean, that actually is pretty powerful and things like that, So.
Yeah, because it's just sitting there doing nothing, right? It's not generating revenue by just sitting in the vault. So, I mean, at least if you release it and you get some money from Spotify or something, at least everyone's making a profit. So I find that a bit bizarre.
I totally agree with you. Not sure what I can do about it, but yeah, I mean, we the conversation, we have many times. I mean, I seen the whole thing maybe 5, 6, 7 times we're having, talking all that, but hopefully it'll happen. Hopefully I still believe, like, at some point somebody's going to say, let's go forward, and then, music's going to be released. Especially right now, to say, it's easy, you put in the digital platforms, and then, we generate some revenue, and also people is going to listen to the music, I mean, people is going to be able to, because they've been asking, and sometimes you see some videos on YouTube. And of course, because, it's contact, private, boom, they actually take it out and things like that.
So with, because you have a good collaboration and camaraderie, I suppose, with Freddy Sheinfield and Joel Douek.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you've done so much stuff with those guys. Is there a particular reason why you keep working with them?
No, we just love each other, man. I was yesterday with Freddy and Joel. I mean, we haven't seen, I see Freddy all the time, but Joel live a little bit, and because of the pandemic and all the stuff. I mean, we still work together. I mean, we're such a good friends. We get along so well that we just enjoy whatever we do. I was telling Joel, I was texting him today, like, man, I mean, we still know how to have fun because we just have some lunch yesterday. It was just laugh and laugh. So that's the answer to your question. We enjoy quite a lot working with each other. We respect each other. And I mean, the whole thing with David happened through Joel. Joel was doing a lot of documentaries for Atlantic Production at that point. And then, he wanted to explore new things, and he invited Freddy and I to work with him. And after that, that little trio was created, and then we did more and more and more and more. And honestly, it allows you to give you more time to write, to actually, sit down and spend more time in a queue because it's three instead of one. There were no ego involved because also I was busy with some other projects that I was doing myself. So Fred, so Joel. So when we were getting these big projects that we were recording with orchestra and all the stuff, at least I wasn't, saying no to some of my projects because we were able to manage because, we have the support of each other for these things. And remember Joel was one of the original Yu-Gi-Oh writers. And so all these friendships became, Freya and I met at Berklee College of Music, but with Joel was through 4Kids Entertainment. So we met in 2004 at the Yu-Gi-Oh premiere for the movie. And I don't know, we click, man. We click, and we are even if sometimes we don't speak to each other in 3-4 months. It's that kind of friendship and that kind of respect that we always see each other. It's like, oh my god, so cool. So it happened yesterday. I mean, I haven't seen Joel like for 2 years or something like that, to be honest. But we always kept in, how you doing, all this pandemic crazy thing and the lockdown and all that. So it's funny you asked the question today because it was yesterday that we met.
Was there any friendly competitiveness between the three of you to try and outdo each other?
We all have different personalities, I believe. I mean, for some of those projects, they were actually Joel's project. So always, he was the one that was bringing the project to us and invited us to work with him. But I don't think so. I mean, it's like, no. I mean, it's like, if Joel wrote something amazing, I mean, that's incredible. Same with Freddy, same with me. And, like, it's funny because we are fans of each other cues. Like, what's your favorite in Conquer of the Sky? So, Joel's going to tell you Dance of the Starlings, which is my cue. If he asks me, which is favorite, I like the one that Freddy did with the flowers. I forget the name. So it's funny, it goes that way. But I don't think that we have encountered that we're competing each other through the same project. I mean, that hasn't happened, although it may happen. I've seen it happen with Freddy and I a couple of times with a few things and things like that. But luckily, none of those guys they go to our composer. But no, man. I mean, it's like we're doing this for so long that there are more important things than that. I mean, it's just the value of the friendship and all that stuff. And I am so happy with Freddy. That's amazing project. So that's Joel, and the same with me. I mean, they always like my famous boss, so we're doing good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. The only reason why I ask is because some people feed off that. They get their motivation from the competitiveness. Encourages them to do better. Somewhat. Yeah. With some people.
No, you're right. But I think that for us, it's a little different because we always see ourselves as a team. And yeah, of course. I mean, with other composers and many amazing people is in town. Yeah, I'll chase you. I'll go for it, man. Yeah, I mean, I'll do it. And, and I love to compete. I mean, I want to get too much into this. I love playing tennis, and I play tennis twice a week because, I mean, I love to compete. So, yes, I mean, well, there are some guys that I know as a friend of mine that, gonna go for, but all in good terms. Everybody, I think that everybody have their own timing. Everybody's different. I cannot compare myself to anyone because it's me and same to another person. So I'm not gonna be chasing anybody's dream. Anybody's dream. Everybody have their own way of doing things.
Now, considering how many documentaries you've worked on with David Attenborough, have you actually had a chance to meet the guy?
No, I haven't met David. I mean, we get direct comments like, oh, I like this cue. I like this music. That's an amazing British accent that I'm doing, as you can see. But did we talk? I don't know if Joel met him. I think that Joel met him one because, Joel is from England. So maybe he did. I don't remember. I think he did for Conquest of the Skies, like he was over there in the studios and he met me. But I haven't, and I know Freddy hasn't met him yet. But yeah, no, I mean, it's such a privilege, such an icon It's like his voice, everything, every time that we get the picture and you start hearing that, it's just like, I mean, we always say, like, that's part of the soundtrack of everything. When we write the music, I mean, his voice, the way that he accentuates things, is part of the whole soundtrack. Yeah, yeah. But no, hopefully I will meet him. That guy seems to be, let's go. He keeps retiring and he keeps going. He keeps going. Yeah, I'm retired. No, I'm going to do another one. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, maybe if I end up talking to him, I'll let him know that you'd be keen to talk to him, keen to meet
Please,
him.
you're right.
Because when you're composing for a documentary, how do you approach it compared to, say, working on a film?
Yeah, that question. Listen, in my particular case, I just recently did before your interview about a horror film that I did, which is called The Exorcism of God, and that's
Yeah.
horror film.
Mm.
They keep asking the question about, regarding a drama, if you approach it different. Yes, of course, there are different genres, but the way that I go into that, I'm not thinking about that. Of course, documentaries. Um, Man, this is always a tough question for me to answer, because for me, I'm not seeing it as something different. I mean, I'm seeing it as like, okay, my job is to write music here and make that scene work, help that scene to make it better that already is. And there are different of ways. I mean, if I start doing what I'm doing with Attenborough into a drama film, it may not work. But I won't know until I actually start getting into this, because yes, I can do a spotting session. We can say, okay, this is the cue that you're going to write. He's talking about dinosaurs, so you have to be epic and all the stuff. And then I kind of have an idea what I want to do after that conversation. But, and again, I'm talking for myself, I really get deep when I'm actually close my doors and going into that. So many decisions of how I approach the scenes are going to happen when I'm actually doing it, when I'm actually there. I'm not, I'm going to do something for Attenborough, or I'm going to do something for this horror film, or this is a cartoon. Of course, I mean, let's be clear. I mean, the same music that goes into Kirby is not going to go into horror music. We know that. But I mean, those are style of music, the moods that you create, that. But for me to differentiate something, I mean, at the end, I'm a film composer. I'm a scoring to reactions. I'm writing music, reacting to what's happening on the screen, what the story is, the way that David is delivering that. I mean, I'm reacting to all the things, and sometimes, honestly, I have cues that I did for the Attenborough series that I can put it perfectly in a romantic comedy. I mean, because yes, I was doing like I don't know. I'm trying to remember, for Micro Monsters, there were a lot of insects fighting. If you hear that, nobody's gonna know. I mean, no one is gonna tell, "Oh, that's documentary music." What is documentary music? I mean, that's music helping a scene. You put that over here and oh, that's a sci-fi film. It may be, you may be close, but then how they're gonna, especially for the stuff that we're doing over there. So I don't know. There are differences, of course. There are different genres, but my personal approach, is basically the same. The way that my head start analyzing things, or what I need to write and how to make something work, is exactly the same for a comedy, for a drama. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. That's the way I see it. I mean, many people have different opinion. Joel have a very good answer about this. He has his own, very deep and insightful answer about the difference. But for me, I just sit down. Okay, this is what I need to do, and they'll go for it.
Yeah, because you must get a little bit of direction from the director, right? Mm-hmm. Usually, I'd imagine so.
No. Yeah. I mean, every director is different, but you want direction from the director. You want that communication. You want that collaboration. I mean, I even if again, many type of director, even they sit down and do what you want to do. I mean, this is what they explain you a little bit of the film, and let me see what you do. Or some other director that are super involved, super involved. I don't want to say, every single note, but very involved, like, from scene to scene, and what's happening, and what is this, and what can you use? I mean, some of those have an amazing terminology about a music instrument and what the music instruments can do. Some of them they don't know it. That's not their job. That's my job. But hey, I don't. Okay, because that's well, they try with a clarinet, for example, things like that. But I want directions. Again, even if the directions say, this is what I feel, this is what I see in my field. You do whatever you want to do. That's already somebody telling me, okay, I know what I can probably do for this. Or somebody can sit down with me to do a spotting session, frame by frame. This here, okay, all right, this and that, perfect, and then where to do. Because I mean, the key in this relationship, director composer, is communication. I mean, the fact that you are able to deliver what they want, I think that's a given fact. I mean, otherwise they won't hire you or they will fire you. But the communication aspect of having this, I like this, I don't like this, how about this? Yeah, I don't know, it's a marriage. It's basically goes more or less like that. So
Yeah. Have you had to chase any projects? Is there any projects that you have to chase, or do they just come to you?
No. All the time I change. I don't think that I'm on that part that I'm sitting down over here and my phone is ringing like, oh no, I don't want to take that call. No. And honestly, even composers that, and again, I keep repeating this. Everybody has their own time. Some composer becomes super successful during the second project. That doesn't guarantee you that in 3 years you're gonna be out of work. I mean, honestly, you know what I mean? Or in 5 or 10 years. So I think that this is you gotta be hard worker. You gotta be humble. Even if you are in that position, like getting 100 of gold, keep it humble, because I mean, you may want to do a project that you really want to, even if you are the biggest star ever, like they don't want you to do it, so you're gonna have to chase it. You really, because it could be like you are doing all these big films, and then this director that you like is doing an independent movie that you have the perfect score for that. He may have somebody else in mind. So if you want it, you're gonna have to chase it. Of course, credits, Emmys, Oscar. That's gonna help. It will help. Absolutely. I don't have any of those, but it will help. And then, but still, you have to chase. So I think that even if I were right now in that position, I'll be the same. I will keep it humble, and maybe things will be easier. Like you are getting. I think that what it gives you is more of opportunity to choose between projects, although I still do it. I mean, I'm not saying yes to anything, and I won't. And if I feel that's something that is not for me or it's not gonna do anything with my career, I just won't do it. I honestly won't do it. I mean, I don't know, if they put like a big check like this, okay, well, let's talk about it a little bit. But I'm trying to be as much as I can selective about my projects, and also the counter relationship aspect. Somebody you have been working for so long that I may say, listen, I have no time right now, but I will bring somebody from my team and we'll do it together. I do that as well, because I have a lot of people who have collaborated with me and helped me in films when I'm super busy and things like that. So yeah. But I do chase. I gotta tell you that,
yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I really respect about the type of work that you do, because it must be terrifying and exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you run out of work and you don't know what your next project's going to be.
It's always like that. But we composers are lucky, especially the ones that have done TV, to have royalties. The royalties, revenue, and income. That's what keep us alive. So I'm always very grateful, to PROs, ASCA, BMI, CSEC, all that, because that creates passive income. So if you have one of those times where you're not working that much, at least that you did something in the past, it's going to create some residuals and some income for you. And that's the amazing part of all that. The PROs, like they really take care as much as they can of tracking everything and things like that. And talking about decisions, I try to diversify myself and doing TV and film. and documentaries, so I can have a good streaming of royalty coming my way from TV work. I mean, although sometimes you see some series right now on TV that is like better than scoring a film, but yeah, I mean, we're lucky, like if we're working that with royalties we can make a living.
Yeah, definitely. Because Kingdom of Plants won a BAFTA, did that do anything? Did that kind of put you on the map at all, and people were more aware of you?
Yeah, I mean, Attenborough, also that's okay. This guy, is writing music for such an icon. It helps. It helps when you actually, submitting, music, or you talk about it. It definitely does help. It's just trajectory. I mean, it's just uh, give you credibility, if you want to say it like that. It's same. You get nominated for a big award, also give you some credibility, but sometimes that doesn't guarantee that the music for that for that city was amazing. Listen, you could be in this town, you could be an amazing and incredible composer. If you don't have a project to back you up, I mean, nobody really cares, honestly. And you can be an amazing composer if you are doing music for film. You need that. You need that validation. Oh, that guy did that project. Or, he's a composer for that. Because I mean, the producers, the directors, they feel like secure. Okay, this guy, if he did that, maybe he can do this as well. And then when you start talking about studio films and going bigger, that gets more complicated with the secret lists of who can you call, you can't call. I mean, that's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, it's like it could happen that you get lucky to score a big major studio film, and then that will keep you going to do more and more and more, and hopefully you can back it up, because that's the problem. If you can back it up, then that's it. I mean, this town doesn't forgive that much, and rightfully so. I mean, you're supposed to be able to do the work. I mean, you shouldn't be getting those gigs because you know someone, No, if you know someone and you get the gig and you can back it up, good. But if you know someone and they put it over there, and there are many other candidates can do a better job, I prefer for the other guys to actually get it, But yeah, no, it helps. I mean, your credits and what you do if they don't know you, because one thing is like if you have already a relationship and they know what you can do and they have heard your music before. I mean, no, don't worry. I mean, these guys gonna be able to do it. But it requires a lot of hard work. Being patient, and if you believe it hard enough, it will happen. And it's not about believing and lying down on a couch watching TV, because yes, I believe that I'm gonna score a huge film. I mean, you have to work really hard, and what goes. I mean, the stories that go until you get one of those. I mean, it's hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work.
Well, it's highly competitive, right? Because California is like the hub of creativity, and you're up against so many other people that want the same job that you do. So
exactly, it's like that. It's like that. Well, but you said it. It makes this fun, and then you don't get bored. You're chasing, and no, absolutely. But I mean, it's part of the career. I mean, I honestly don't like to complain, because if I'm complaining, why am I doing this? I chose to. Nobody forced me, right? I mean, I chose it because I love it, and I feel like this is it's an incredible career, and we're lucky to do what we love. And then it comes with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work, as I keep repeating. And again, everybody have their own time, and it's about happiness. It's not about scoring the next big DC film. It's, are you happy doing that? You know what I mean? And of course, I mean, it'll make you happy to see your name and all that comes with that, and the money that comes with that. But making sure that that's what is making you happy. So I mean, I'm welcoming, and I'm working hard, and I hope the universe responds and all the stuff. But there is no despair on me on I have to, like, no. I mean, it's like, I mean, I feel very lucky that I'm writing music basically every day during the year. I'm doing it. I'm writing music, and I'm making a living out of this. And and the same way that I approach a small film, as far as quality and how much heart I put into that is going to be exactly the same way on a big film. It's just, I mean, I guarantee it's the same. I'm going to have more resources. Absolutely. I have more, like, okay, I want this, I want that. But me, Elik Alvarez is going to be the same kid. I mean, it's just like I will approach it with all my heart and try to repeat that freaking cue until for me it's perfect. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Do you still attend the parties, the networking events? Do you still have to go to all those?
I'm not a big networking guy. No, I'm not saying that as something positive, because maybe we were talking about the big DC film right now, but I'm not. I'm not a big networking guy. Right now with the pandemic, of course, things are done this way. For some reason, I feel like I'm more comfortable, to doing it like this. But no. I mean, it's not like I'm hiding and nobody talks to me and a weird guy with a beard like that. And no. I have my friends. We go and things like that. But I'm not that super networking guy. I'm not. I mean, I'm tend to be a little bit shy sometimes, and I feel comfortable on my group. I'm like, yeah, shy. Yeah, Elik, you're shy.
You don't seem shy.
No. It's like, I feel comfortable with my people. Like, it's just something, I mean, it's part of who I am. And my publicist, well, I mean, she passed away. My dear Beth. She always said, Elik, you have to overcome being you when you go there. I mean, and she always was pushing me, like, let me introduce you to Elik Alvarez and like that. Beautiful Beth. And yeah, but it goes with personality, I guess. But again, I'm not saying this that I'm proud, because I have to get better, because it's part of the business. It's part of the game. It is part of the game, and you have to do it. But I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Final question before I let you go. Is there anything that you haven't worked on, like a specific franchise or a specific medium that you haven't worked in that you'd like to work in?
I can tell you what I don't want to work, which is commercials. Commercials. No, I mean, I probably did 2 or 3 or 4, and I hate it. No.
Why do you hate commercials?
I can't deal with the creative and what happens over there and the type of notes they give. I mean, again, if I have to feed my family, I will do it. But no, I don't like to work on commercials. No, I mean, that's a very good question. I don't know. Media. Well, I would like. No, I did that too, but I would like to do more, maybe concert music. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with film music, your live performance. I would like to, and I have like already prepared like a little chamber concert of my music with piano and violin and viola, things like that. That kind of stuff I would love to do and be able, but I don't have time. I think that will come the time that I'll be able to do more of that and come back to perform a little bit more. But as far as media, I did video games, documentaries, film, horror. When I did those commercials at that time, and but I don't know what else, I mean, what do you think? I mean, what media I should be working? I mean, you ask a question for what? Something like
I'm just curious, because you've done pretty much everything that I can think of.
Yeah,
so
I guess.
I'm just I mean, a superhero film, I guess.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, but again, that will go back to my answer regarding approaching a big film the same way I approach some or a smaller thing. Those freaking action cues in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, the only thing, like, probably I won't show like that, because if we don't go to record with a real orchestra. But it's insane. It's insane the melodies, orchestration, that they fit perfectly in a big action film. Of course, the budget is there to bring the full orchestra and spend all the money. But no, I mean, if I get a big action superhero film, I'll be happy, and man, I will feel that I have done this before. Honestly, it will be a lot of implications and politics and things that go beyond the studio, and
Of course.
having a new composer coming in to score this, and how many people are giving opinions on the reason. No, please bring the other guy. No, I'm too scared. I don't know that kid, and things like that, of course. But as far of me performing and doing my job into something like that, I honestly feel very secure about it. I mean, the surprises, yeah, of course, we'll get surprises and obstacles, but I get those either way in the other stuff. So, I feel like, yeah, so. But no, man, I haven't done it all. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I want to do, but but again, I think that I've been being able to different things that it just helped to make me a better composer, a better professional of what I do. Because I mean, you grab things here and there, and you learn every project that you do. You learn, and you hear the one you did 2 years ago, and you will say, we will say, oh man, that actually was pretty good and pretty well thought and pretty well written. So yeah.
Well, you have an amazing CV. You've done so much stuff.
No, thanks,
So
man.
I'm sure something awesome's on the horizon.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I can't complain, but yeah, man, no, thank you again. I will keep working hard and try to do always my best and see what happens. See where all this adventure takes me.
Yeah. So where can everybody follow your work and you on social media? Where's the best place to go?
Yeah, Elik Alvarez composer on Instagram. That's I'm not huge about it, but I actually put the projects, and I'm getting better. I put the projects that I'm doing over there. My webpage definitely needs to be updated, but at some point you can listen to some of my music over there, which is elikalvarez.com, ELIKALVAREC.com. Same with the Instagram, ELIKALVAREC composers on Instagram. And then you can find me over there. And there are a couple of new projects coming in, pretty soon, and pretty excited. I mean, I'm just finishing a documentary about multiple personality disorder, which is called the ID today's, and pretty interesting. And also it's funny because when I came to the director, I tended to it's got to be something dark. He didn't want anything dark. Actually, he wanted empathy for the person, and it came out like a very beautiful score. It's like a beautiful melodies, and he let me go. Like, took me a while to try to make him trust me. It's gonna work, and then it came out pretty beautiful. Pretty nice melodies. I'm gonna record with Budapest with the orchestra in 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, two. Oh my gosh, very horrid. Yeah, I think in 2 weeks I recorded with Budapest, and I'm looking forward to that one. That's a pretty nice one. Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. I know if I wasn't talking to you, you'd probably be composing. So thanks for taking the time out. And I hope the royalties come through for 4Kids Entertainment, that massive backlog. I'm sure you'd love to see that paycheck.
Yeah. No. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me. Really enjoy the conversation. And, for me, talking about this, I mean, it's always joyful. I really enjoy it. So I really appreciate you spending the time and, reaching out. Thank you so much. And anytime, let me know. I mean, we can talk. We'll find something else to talk that we don't talk today. But
yeah, I'm sure. Cool. Right. All right, well, that's the show, everyone. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe. See you later.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Thank you.